What's up, guys? Today we're going over the new dungeon grenade launcher, the Wilderflight, which is the first double fire frame GL. And yeah, this thing is weird in a good way. In this video, we're going to be going over what the hell that even means and comparing it to some of our GLs and seeing how good it is overall. So jumping straight in, as you see, double fire, hard-hitting twin fire rounds. So what does that even mean? Well, when you shoot it, as you see, it will shoot 2 grenades at once at the cost of 1 ammo. And they, for the most part, go to the same location. They follow the same path. But if you get some weird bounces going on, they can split up and go different directions. But outside of those very unpredictable bounces, for the most part, they're going to go to the same location every single time. So yeah, it's kind of weird that it's just 2 GLs that are more or less going to the same spot. So my first question, and most of your first questions, will be, what is the damage of these 2 GLs like? Is it just literally double damage or what? So I have one with Spike on it, and I have another regular Breach single tube GL with Spike also, and see what the difference is. So first with the Wilderflight, it's going to hit Carl twice, as you'll see right here, doing roughly 12.3k twice and 9.5 twice. So that already looks pretty interesting because it impacts twice and does 2 explosion numbers. So comparing it to a normal GL, the explosion number is going to be way higher at 24.4, but that sounds pretty close to double damage. And as you see on screen right now, they're very close, but the Wilderflight was technically slightly higher. But the huge difference is the Wilderflight impacts twice, doing double the impact damage, which means a total damage output of 43,000 per GL compared to 33.5 with the normal one, which is over 30% more damage per shot. So this GL right out of the box without any perks attached to it is already doing 30% more damage than a normal grenade launcher. And if we look at the perks on this weapon, the ones that are notable in the left will be autoloading, danger zone, and demolitionist. Then in the right, the notable ones are going to be Vorpal, Frenzy, Drone Junkie. That would also maybe include lead from gold and pugilist, but mostly the top 3 damage perks. So a Drone Junkie will be the highest damage buff this weapon can receive, and all you need to do is get a grenade final blow or 5 final blows. So this won't be great for like long boss fights, but for general play, this will definitely be the highest damage. As you see right here, hitting for quite a lot, a total of 58.1 thousand, which is going to be a 32.7% increase. Then outside of that, your other 2 damage perks will be either Frenzy or Vorpal, both of which I don't have on good rolls. But both perks will be 15%, and Vorpal will be the best for just pure boss fights with no setup, but Frenzy will be better overall for most general gameplay because it'll work versus all enemy types and not just bosses. And once you're in a fight for like about 10 seconds, you'll have that buff going, and it'll also be increased reload speed, so really good for general play. But looking at the rate of fire and DPS of this weapon, I'm going to do 3 and 6 shots, which means, you know, actually 6 and 12 GLs because it shoots twice. But that's going to take roughly 7.8 seconds. So the DPS with a Drone Junkie will be 56.9 thousand, then drop down to 44.3, which are really good for a GL, higher than I've ever seen really. Then the DPS with Frenzy or Vorpal will be about 50, then drop down to 38, which is still going to be obviously a lot better than most normal single tube GLs. Then for the left column perks to pair with these damage perks, you have the classic auto load and holster, which works really well when you just need to pull it out for like a major or a big group of enemies. And that's probably going to pair really well with either Vorpal or Frenzy because you'll have both of those buffs ready right when you pull it out. And another left column perk you can use, which would be obviously extremely strong, will be Demolitionist to help avoid reloading, which should give you a slight bump in DPS if you use your grenade to reload once or twice in a damage phase. Also, it'll help you get your grenade back, and I think that'll pair obviously really well with Adrenaline Junkie or Frenzy or Vorpal. But one I'm definitely interested in is Danger Zone, which will increase the blast radius of the weapon. That should, in theory, make planning GLs better and pair really well with Adrenaline Junkie when you get that full 32% buff, spreading that to the biggest area as possible. So my next question with this weapon is, like most GLs, you want either Spike for single target or blinding grenades for utility to blind stuff in the room, one of the most overpowered mechanics in the game. And does this GL do that better than the other ones? Well, the simple answer is, in theory, in most situations, it's going to be at minimum the same, if not slightly better, because the GLs are technically slightly more apart than just a single one would be, which means ever so slightly more radius of blinding, but I definitely would not say it's going to be noticeable in most situations to the human eye. So generally, it's going to be more or less the same, with potential of being much better if you can take advantage of weird bounces to spread them apart. But generally, that's going to be very unpredictable and inconsistent, so I would say more or less the same for blinding. One thing to note is, with this weapon, unlike some of our dungeon weapons, you'll definitely take advantage of the origin trait, where damaging targets while hipfire will increase handling and reload speed. So that would definitely be helpful to give you just a little bit more reload speed. So overall, this GL is definitely the real deal. It does the most damage per shot of any GL really in the game, just because of the fact that it will impact twice. But the thing about this GL is, for group ad clear and things like that, obviously it does not even get close to something like the salvo with chain reaction, or even remotely close to the forbearance with chain reaction. So in terms of just pure ad clear and stuff like that, there are definitely better options. So I think the role of the Wilderflight is for single target damage with that double impact. So I can definitely foresee it being used with the Izanagi Burden, plus, you know, the Cataclysmic with bait and switch, or even a rocket launcher for those combo DPS swaps. And that would be really good, just slightly more damage than all the other GLs in the game. And I can foresee this being really good for activities with a lot of majors or high targets, because of the fact that it just simply does more damage per shot. But for just general ad clear, the forbearance or salvo are still way better. So I think this would more so lend itself to maybe Nightfalls, where you would still have the blinding GL for the utility, but then when you get up to a champion or even the boss, you would have that increased single target damage and that better burst damage, which will help you kill the champion a little bit quicker, and it'll be a little bit better than all the other GLs in the game. So yeah, just going over the roles I'd be going for on this weapon, I personally would want an auto loading plus like maybe Frenzy or Vorpal, a Danger Zone plus a Drone Junkie with Blinding or Spike, which I already have, then one with Demo plus Vorpal, Frenzy, or Adrenaline with, once again, Blinding or Spike. Out of those 6 perks I just mentioned, any combination of them would be really good, and I wouldn't necessarily say there's just one god roll, there's probably multiple, so any combination would be really good. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this weapon. Definitely super unique and worth getting. Let me know what you think about it down below. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.
Dense hive signatures in a facility up ahead.